Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome into Moments of Spiritual Education with Aadfedbea. Today, we are going to maybe conclude. Let me not say that definitely, okay? But right now in my mind, this is part 5 and the final part of the relationship series, okay? But before we get into it, I want you to make sure you go back and watch parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Grab a pen and paper. Meet me back so we can get into it. All right, so relationships part 5. I want to start this segment off with a little vulnerability, a little story time, okay? Which will segue me into the point, all right? So bear with me. I want to emphasize today, right? We've talked about relationships from many different perspectives and dynamics. But today, I really want to highlight and focus on the relationship with self, okay? How to have a better relationship with yourself. And in my vulnerability and story time, if you will, right? I want to tell you how I went about my journey, okay? Of really, really learning how to have a better relationship with myself, all right? So, growing up, I was raised in a very, 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 very abusive home and environment. Okay, um, there was a lot of physical abuse, a lot of mental abuse, a lot of spiritual, emotional, all types of narcissistic abuse that you can think of. Okay, some of you may really resonate with this story. Okay, because you have been in abusive relationships before, or maybe you were raised that way, okay? But others of you just be here with me, okay? Be here with me. So, one of the characteristics that comes with, you know, an abuser being able to control, we'll say, the victim, right? They have to convince you that you are not enough, okay? They have to convince you that you are wrong about every single thing that you do, you think. If you're not doing what they tell you to do, if you are not doing what they are recommending, demanding, whatever it is of you, you're wrong. And not only are you wrong, you are the worst person in the world. You don't deserve good things. You don't deserve love. You don't deserve acknowledgement, so on and so forth, right? So a lot of times we'll see people, you know, even as full grown adults that may still be stuck in that cycle of, you know, normalizing abuse, right? Correlating abuse to love, or you know, if it is like a sense of family, right? Like I talked about in one of the previous videos, we may normalize things because it's what we saw growing up, it's what we dealt with, but it's not normal. It's not meant to be, you know, a part of your normal, right? So we'll see adults that were abused, you know, since childhood, and now they're married to an abuser, right? Or they're around friends and community that are, you know, abusing them in many different ways, taking advantage of them, right? And we wonder, why can't that person get away? You know, I would never let anybody do this to me, do that to me, treat me this way. But again, the programming, the programming that comes along with that, when you don't feel good about yourself, when you don't feel confident about yourself, when you don't feel confident about, you know, what you have set your hand to do, because somebody is always saying wrong, 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 not enough, you know, do it again, I don't like it, ew, who told you to do it, you know, then think about how you could ever feel like I can walk away, do something for myself, take care of myself, and be okay, when all your mind has been programmed to think is that whatever you do is not going to be enough. So sometimes when the abuse comes with having somewhere to lay your head every night, It comes with, that sense of toxicity where somebody will do this to you, and then turn around and tell you that I'm doing it because I love you. So you feel like, well, at least I still got somebody to love me. Yeah, I'm bruised, I'm broken, I'm very disconnected to the core being of who I am, my creation, right? But I hear somebody tell me every day that they love me, so it's worth staying. Because even if I wanted to leave and do this, I wouldn't be successful. I wouldn't find love anywhere else. I'm not worthy of that, right? So being a product of that type of environment. And I was also a person, I am still, but in that mode, right, I was also then a person who was a pleaser at heart. I had a good heart. I always wanted everybody to feel good. I was very empathic. I wanted to make people feel good. There's never been any parts of me that's like looking at a person like, ooh, I want to hurt them. Ooh, I want to see them suffer. Like, nah, it's not me. Never was me. But did that also make me the perfect candidate for being, abused in this type of environment? Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that being said, I went through my life setting all of my focus on pleasing somebody else. Whether this was something that they were telling me, oh, you have to do this, you're going to have to, do what I'm telling you to do, please me in this way. Or it was just me, in my own way, chasing those thoughts of like, you're not going to be enough if you don't do this. You're not going to, please this person if you don't show up in this way, and this and this and this and this. And the craziest thing about it all, right, is the parts of you that are attacked the most in these types of situations are the most valuable parts, right? We talk about this, this war sometimes of light and dark. Yes, it works just like the sun and the moon, right? We need the daytime, we need the nighttime, we need the cooling down of the earth, right? We need even the shadow energy that comes with the moon as well too. We need the life and death, the yin and the yang. But there's also an oversaturation in certain cases, situations, right? To where certain thoughts that we are leaning into, certain belief systems that we are, clinging to, is just not meant for us. It's very counterproductive and destructive to who we are created to be, okay? So, as was the case for me, I kept denying, who I was. I kept denying my gifts. I have been literally telling people their future, talking about things that happened in their past before I was born, since I was this big, literally. When I say all my life. But then, you know how a child, right, out of the mouth of babes, right, there's a lot of innocence and truth, right? We learn as adults how to filter. Don't say that, don't offend this person, blah, 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 blah. Kids tell it like it is, right? So imagine you're like 45 years old babysitting me as a 1-year-old, 1.5 maybe. And I'm talking to you and I'm playing with my toys, and I turn around and I say to you, I know what you dreamed last night. And you know how like kids just be talking and playing, and you be like, what I dream about? But literally what I'm talking about is what you dreamed about last night. And so as an adult, you're like, I don't really know what to do with this, right? But those things, right? The way in which I used to use my imagination, what I call my imagination, but even to what I tell my clients, your imagination is your ability to manifest. And think about for all of us as children, whether you were in an abusive situation or not, all of us as children growing up, there came some point where somebody stepped on and crushed a dream and said, like, hey, you're going to have to stop imagining and you're going to have to think logically. Real world. This is real life, right? As though your imagination does not play a part in what type of real life, scenario or situation you're going to manifest. But they make that seem like something that's just like, oh, that's child's play, right? Like that you have to leave that ability, or you have to look away from that activity, if you will, when you start getting older and look at this as this and this and this and this, right? So all of the things for me as a child, right? The things that just came naturally to me, you know, because I was a child, but then the things that came supernaturally as well too, because I am a very gifted person, right, on this earth for very, very, very specific reasons. They didn't like that. They didn't like that part of me. So now we introduce this, negative reaction. So when I start saying things or using my gifts, no, you don't do that, or you get a whooping, or they tell you that you crazy, or laugh at you, something of that nature. It was always for me. So what that began to create for me was this negative relationship with my discernment, okay? Now, I want you to remember that we are all multidimensional beings. There's different parts of us, right? Subconscious being super subconscious. The places where you view things from your higher self, around your third eye and your crown, right? There's so many different parts of you that are responsible for making up your being. All of this. Okay? Now, in different case scenarios, there may be different parts of you that will respond to whatever is going on, whatever is being presented to you, right? So when you create this type of response to where it looks like you denying a part of you that's trying to tell you something, like what we call sometimes like a gut feeling about something, it's not good. It's not a good thing, right? Because you need to be able to trust yourself, right? Even when we talk about the overhead question of the day, how do I create a better, relationship with self? Think about it. When you want to have a relationship with somebody else, don't you want to be able to trust that person? Absolutely. So denying yourself any part of who you are for any reason, not okay. Now, to my case scenario, growing up as a child, it was normalized for me that if I didn't choose to ignore any part of my being, right, that something bad was going to happen to me. So for the sake of safety, I was like, hey, everybody, discernment, heart, spirit, mind, listen, let's have a meeting. They're out here handing out ass whoopings for people that are using their discernment. I don't know what we need to do, but your girl ain't gonna be able to be a part, okay? And again, instead of me being in this mode of learning myself, learning, who God is to me, what God looks like manifest through me, right? Because we are all the reflection and the image of God. I was learning what people wanted me to do. I was learning what I was told to do. And again, not from people that are trying to say something to me to help me, uplift me, or build me up. It was always to dim, hide, beat down, take away, drain, disencourage. Always. So by the time I go and I become an adult, of course, A lot of the relationships that I found myself in, right? Again, go back to part 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you have already seen them, then you know how all of this is connecting, okay? Ride with me. Ride with me. I was attracting all of that abusive nature because I did not denounce what I grew up learning as my normal. I did not say that I didn't want that. No, a part of me did want it because it was like, well, this is our normal and we need to have a pattern and we need to lock in to accomplish and this and this and this. So many of the relationships had that dynamic, a lot of insecurities, a lot of the issues that come with having insecurities on both ends of the spectrum. And still, all the while, this is me for years, telling myself, nope, not yet, nope, 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 nope. At this point, my subconscious in the background with the red flag, like, leave. Don't do it. Like, seriously. But I kept getting these relationships, going through this cycle, getting my head knocked between the washer and dryer, like, because I wasn't acknowledging me. Because again, what do I know? What do I remember? That when I try to do things, I'm not good enough. When I try to do things, it's not going to be successful. So I may as well keep on doing what I've been doing. Keep on doing what I was taught. Keep on, conforming to the cycle. Go all the way through adulthood. 2018, I marry. I marry the abuse, okay? Again, all relationships have somewhat in some way been reflective of this. I legally get married to it, okay? Now, as I told y'all in my other video, right, how that came to an end and the details in between, again, look for the book. It's coming soon. But the point is, as I said in the other video, when I prayed and I talked to God and I'm really like, all right, clearly, all of these years of not trusting myself, not trusting that God is within me, not listening to the discernment that is connected to the Most High, clearly it's not working. Not giving what it needs to give. Got to do something different. And when I prayed the prayer to be released from that, after I was released from that, right, I was living in my car. Living in my car after this, right? And my car at that time was like my sanctuary. This is where I truly, truly, truly found out who the divine was, what the divine was. Every single day, it was almost like how people say in church, like, oh yeah, I was in devotion and, fasting, focusing. Like, that's how I was, but in my car. I was pouring out all of the things, just like I gave y'all the assignment to write the list, right? Of talk about each relationship and what type of feelings that person creates and brings in your life. And if it's something that you don't like, be very transparent about that. I was tired. I was tired. Okay, when I say tired, not like the tired when people be like, oh, I'm tired of this, but you keep doing the same thing over and over. No, I was like, God, I promise you. Pinky promise, I promise you, if you show me what to do, how to get out of this, I'll do it. Whatever it is, hit me with it. I told God that. Hit me with it. Give it all to me at once. Let me learn. Let me do it. Because this right here, these relationships, how I'm feeling, not working for me. And after that conversation with God, the divine directed me back to myself. Back to myself. My spirit guides communicated with me to let me know, okay, the same thing I told you. Become who you want to see in your life. Now, mind you, I'm a good person. I'm a pleaser. So I was always being good to people. But the intention behind it was, again, this like, I need this gratification. I'm a pleaser. I'm an abused pleaser, right? I feel like this is going to get me less beat up if I, do it right and put a cherry on top. So that constant self abuse, right, of creating this scenario that I'm not enough unless I'm doing all of this and doing all this extra, and even still, right, no matter how much, it's like, I could do more, I could do more, I can do more, because that's what was always. Never a sense of gratitude for what was done. Never a sense of gratitude for the fact that you did what I said to do. Never. So even my way of loving people or connecting to people was toxic. We could say all day, like, yeah, it was good. It came from a good heart, and it did. But the reason behind it was to get the gratification of feeling like I pleased somebody. Not just me, existing as a good person and not being afraid to share my goodness with you, because I am made of goodness. So why wouldn't, what else do I have to share with you but goodness? Because I'm goodness. Now, that's what it is for me now, right? Because I have learned how to have a good relationship with myself, but then that's not what it was. So I had to become the person that I just described. I had to become the person that felt nervously okay, like in my nervous system. I felt stimulated and okay being in the room, not feeling like I had to impress somebody here. Not feeling like I had to do something, that would make a person acknowledge me in a positive way. I could just literally exist as I am, not be so tuned in to everybody else's energies and thoughts. Yes, because I can read thoughts. I do not use the gift in that way because I don't be wanting to know what y'all thinking sometimes. I don't. But then that I couldn't control it, because it was just like, when you so tuned into a person, and again, if you've been in an abusive relationship, you know what I mean. Like a creak in the floor can make you, tense up and trigger, because this person's pattern, this person is walking towards you, is getting ready to be something. Get yourself ready. Make sure they don't have anything to say or fuss about or be mad about or hit you for, or if you know, and if you don't, praise God. But when you are in that environment constantly, even when you're in public, you don't feel safe. You always like, okay, I don't want to make nobody mad. I don't want to offend nobody. I don't want to da-da-da-da. You're not even enjoying. You're not even tuned into what's actually happening in the room. So becoming the person that says like, okay, I set the temperature of every room that I walk in. I start the day setting my temperature, affirming my day, telling myself what type of day it's going to be. No matter what energies are presented to me, I'm going to choose to accept the ones that reflect what I need today. Only. So that means if the person beside me is having a bad day and want to start some drama or mess with me to project that energy onto me, no thank you. I'll go sit over here. Because what I have, or better yet, you go sit over there. The spirit said, you go sit over there, okay? But because I have, already set this standard to say this is how I want to feel today, nothing's going to stop that. I don't have to change, my frequency of how I am feeling because you are feeling differently. Maybe when I was with the abuser and I had to be drugged wherever they wanted to drag me, that was the case. But now, not so much, because my feelings are important too. We're not all finna have a bad day because you're having a bad day. We're not. I love myself enough to hold that standard that says whatever energy I desire and deserve, I will have, because I'm worthy of it. Now, some people may ask, like, well, Addie, how do you know that you are worthy of it? Let me tell you how I knew. Because every day, right, back to me telling y'all, when I was living in my car, that was my sanctuary. I wasn't just out there bumming it. I was literally working every day. I was putting in that work. I was doing my shadow work. I was clearing my energy every day of the things that I no longer desire. As I told y'all before, I learned something from everything and everybody in my life. I don't care how long you were in my world. I don't care how you treated me when you were in my life. I learned something from you. And I made something very positive out of it. And very powerful. Kudos to me. I learned something. And at that point where I first, began living in my car, what I had learned, the majority of what I had learned is what not to do. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. We hadn't even started tapping the surface right again, because remember what I just told you, my conversation with God was, show me what to do. Because clearly these motherfuckers around me, we all out here, the blind leading the blind, the crazy leading the slow. Please take me off the list. Please take me off the list, okay? Because I am neither one of them. And the energy in which they are existing, how they treat each other, how they treat me, it's not really working for me. It's not. So I didn't know what to do. I couldn't start affirming and declaring, right? I couldn't do that. But what I could do is talk about what I know I did not want, because I had nothing but examples of that. Now, once I began to purge that, right, because now that I'm shifting my perception to see it as something that I do not want, that means my subconscious is saying that's no longer normal. So when somebody is trying to present that energy in one way or the other, immediately know. Immediately know. But every single day, I poured it all out. I poured it all out. I've talked about before too, everything that I knew, I threw everything on the table. You told me the sky was blue. You told me that this is the color white. Throw it all on the table. I'm going to sleep. When I wake up, I'm going to look at that again. And whatever color I want to call it, whatever word I associate with what this is, that's what it's going to be for me. Because the things that y'all sold me before to believe and to do and the examples, I'm good on that. That don't work for me. That don't work for me. I've said before, when I used to do my live readings, if you really think about things, if you brought a child into this world and never told a child who God was, you never put a book in front of a child to say, this is this color, this is this, this is this, who knows what that child would call it, would see it as, right? Who knows? And what does it matter? Because to them, it's their truth. To them, it's something that serves them. But we come from a world where everything is predefined. Everything is it is what we tell you it is. You come from a household, they pick what your future is going to be. They're going to tell you this, they're going to but sometimes you just have to consider, baby, that may not be right for me. And especially if you don't have a parent that actively is, speaking to God, seeking that clarity and guidance on what you actually need, how can you say? How can you know? And unfortunately, what we end up finding, right, is that our parents, sometimes grandparents, whoever was your mother figure, father figure in your life, right, whoever was your example, sometimes they are still adults, still in the same cycles of abuse. When we talk about people being born and knowing that you are a curse breaker, this is what we are talking about. It's not going to look like you out here with a samurai sword, like cutting people's heads off. That's not the warfare. The warfare comes in the small decisions of saying, no, I deserve better. I know this is what you want from me, because most of all, because it's what you wanted for yourself. But we thinking deeper now and understanding, right? Even just the assumption that everybody's going to want the same thing, or everybody's going to have to be alike, and da-da-da-da-da. That in itself is a curse. Because we all come as individuals with individual plans and agreements with God on what we have to do on this earth. And even as parents, right, you have to understand that it is your job to guide and lead, but also you are working with the Most High on what these kids need and how to raise them. So you need to be in contact with God on who your kids are and what have they come here to do. Not what you just see them, oh, they're going to be this and they're going to do this and they're going to have this degree and this, title and whatever. No. If that's not, a conversation that you've had with God, literally, So I broke the mold because the mold was a little too disfigured for me. What is this? Why are we out here giving Thriller? Why are we out here like zombies and just rudiment and just doing things that are hurtful over and over and over again? Why? Why does nobody want to grow or think bigger or do more? Why? These were the questions I asked. Why? And when I get, slapped or whatever, or chastised because that's just how you're supposed to do it, you do it because I tell you. That ain't good enough for me. Putting it on the list. I don't want to do that. So everything. I wasn't just going to go because you told me, because this, because that. No. Let me have a conversation with the divine. Let me now acknowledge all of those parts of me that I was, shh. We don't want to get in trouble. Shh. Dim your light. You don't want to be seen, because every time you seen, somebody going to tell you something is wrong with you, or this and this and this. All them parts that I ignored during those moments. Okay, talk to me. What's really good? What do we really like? What do we really need? What is going to help me accomplish all that I was sent to this earth to do? And slowly but surely, I started understanding. I started hearing myself. Because you know why? Because I started writing. I am worthy of being heard. My thoughts are important. My feelings are valid. Right? And in all truth and honesty, even just those last two examples, my truth, what did I say? My truth is valid. My feelings are valid. Maybe I said my feelings are valid, right? How I came about with these types of affirmations. People will tell me your thoughts don't matter. Don't nobody care about how you feel. Right? These were things that were programmed as negative thoughts that I once held on as truth. So now to reprogram the mind, right? Now to start learning the truth of what it is I actually want, what I want to hear, how I want to be spoken to. I have to denounce, unspeak the words that were programmed in my mind. My feelings are valid. My thoughts are important and valuable. So I did this, and I did this, and I did this every day. Every single day. Multiple times a day. The more the years went on, the less time I needed to do it, because my mind had started to grasp and reprogram and realign, right? But at the beginning, I went in. Because think about it. Every single day of my life, people were hammering, drilling this sense of unworthiness into me. So think about it. Even to be able to balance it out every single day of my life, I have to speak positively to myself. I have to remind myself that I'm worthy. Just like your mama used to remind you, I'm going to whoop you when you get to the house. And make sure you never forgot it. Don't get happy because remember when you get to the house, you still getting a whooping. You have to remind yourself, don't remember, you are that guy. You are that girl. You are worthy of feeling good. You are worthy of being taken care of. You are worthy of acknowledgement. Every single day. The same energy in which you give to other people, the same thought and carefulness, right? One of my favorite words to use, the same thought and carefulness that you put into making sure that other people feel good and other people are taken care of. Give it to yourself. Just as religiously as you do with others. You got to. Ain't no shortcutting it. That's why I say again, when people come to me and tell me it's hard and I don't want to hear it. Because everything that I teach from, all of my experience, where my blueprint was written, was me going through it. It's funny, me and my sister was talking about the other day. I was like, yeah, I don't give men money. Because as a grown, able-bodied man, you're not going to tell me how you don't got it and this and this and this. And when I was homeless and going through it and struggling and whatever else, I still got it figured out. I worked on my spirit team right, even if it wasn't by way of putting on some steel-toe boots and going to the factory. Not my place as a feminine. Don't claim that. I still did. I still took care of myself. I asked for the help. I did what was needed. So coming to me and being like, oh, it's so hard and this and this and this and this. That's what I got to say to that. Nothing. I don't got nothing for you. Because I was a person who did the work day in, day out. I spoke, I cried, I released all of the emotions that I couldn't release around the abusers. And even as I released the emotion, I never looked at myself as weak. I always told myself, like, you are so strong for bearing that as long as you did. I speak to the part of me that held on to that. Thank you for releasing that. Thank you for feeling safe with the alignment that I have consciously worked to put us in. Thank you for feeling safe enough in this space to release that so that we can be lighter and freer. I did that every day. I have heard now more positive words within the last 3 years than I have heard negative the first 31 of my life. And you want to know why that is? Because I did it to me. When I first started my spiritual journey, there weren't a lot of people around me speaking over me positive words. No. I was still piece by piece detaching from people who would be quick to discourage me, who would be quick to, be in the hater energy or whatever it is. Because again, I was still attracting that. But the time and space in between, like I told y'all in the other video, when you're not in these relationships, what should you be doing? Reminding yourself of what you deserve, becoming who you want to attract. I was doing that. So slowly but surely, as I went through the process of telling myself and reminding myself and making sure that I heard a voice every day that spoke life into me, even if it was just my own. When I began to go out and meet people and connect and open myself up, guess what happened? The reflection started coming to me. So now I got help, bitch. I'm telling myself I'm beautiful every morning. I'm walking down the street. This person telling me, this person telling me, this person telling me. Why, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. Now my subconscious is hearing that as a daily token of, love and strength. That's my normal. And how did that become my normal? Because I chose to have a better relationship with myself. I chose that. And did what was necessary to make sure that it happened. And now I hold myself accountable. It's not so much about learning because I'm in my mode of giving the game now, helping you. But for me, it's still practice, right? For me to be accountable enough to tell you that this is going to work. I still am living in the vein of it working. I'm still seeing myself as that worthy. It's not a maybe today, this and this and this. Here's another example, and I promise you I'm going to end it. Here's another example I always tell people. You may put on like let's say for instance, like this scarf. It has like some loud colors, right? And you feeling a little unsure about it, but you convince yourself like, yeah, this my little jazz, I'm gonna go with it today. So I look cute, I'm feeling it, I love it. You go out, right? And what you've already told yourself is that you look cute, right? The first person come along, they say, oh my God, I love that color on you, da 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 da. They reaffirm what you've already claimed, right? Now somebody else might come by wearing a beige outfit because that's just their flavor. So this right here is not going to be a part of, what they consider something attractive or cute or whatever it is. And they give you a look and you notice it. Now, in that moment, you have a choice. You're either going to continue to hold on to the standard that you've already set for yourself today. Remember that there was somebody else that has already even affirmed it, right? You can choose to believe that person, or you can choose to go deeper into a space or a rabbit hole that does not belong to you and find yourself feeling unconfident, right? Because of what I said in the other video. You're in a whole arena that does not belong to you. That person's minds, that person's color palette, that ain't for you, baby. And it's okay for it not to be for you. Just like it's okay for your color palette not to be for them. Keep it moving. Keep believing in what you know. And what you know is you look good. Period. I don't even have time to acknowledge who doesn't think so because I said what I said. You worth all of the good acknowledgement. Now do the work to remind yourself. If ain't nobody else doing it for you right now, or if you want more people in your life that will stand and touch and agree, do it first. Dive in. If you want more help on how to get it done, make sure you tap in with me. Send me an email. I love you guys so very much. And you already know I'm going to talk to you again soon.